guys, today we're going to be looking at creating Paul Klee inspired cityscapes. We're going to be focusing on the technique of collage and the concepts of geometric shapes and color theory. So you might be asking, who is Paul Klee? Paul Klee was an artist who was born in 1879, a long time ago. He was born in Bern, which is in Switzerland. And as a young boy, he had two very musical parents. His parents were professional musicians, and for a while he followed in their footsteps. But when he became a teenager, he decided that actually it was visual arts that he liked better. Visual arts is what we're doing today, if you didn't know that. So it's everything that's painted or sculpted, anything that can be seen rather than performed. He went to the Academy of Fine Arts when he decided that he wanted to do visual arts, and that's where he studied. And the Academy of Fine Arts that he went to was in Munich, which is in Germany. And when he was studying, he also traveled a lot. He traveled all the way around Europe, including Italy and France. And when he got to Paris, he met up with another famous artist that we know of as Pablo Picasso. And him and Pablo Picasso became really good friends. And it was Pablo Picasso who inspired Paul Klee to do work that involved cubism. So he started to experiment with color and he made his own style. This painting that he made is called Red Balloon, and it's made in 1922, and as you can see, it's made up of basic geometric shapes. So geometric shapes, guys, are shapes that basically have a name. So if you can name it, it's a geometric shape, such as a square, rectangle, diamond, circle. As long as it's got a name, it's classed as a geometric shape. And cubism used a lot of geometric shapes, and that's what inspired Paul Klee in a lot of his work. So today we're going to be using a lot of geometric shapes in our collage, and we are going to be using things around the house that we can find. It's a little bit tricky at the moment because we are not at school and we don't have all the beautiful pieces of cardboard and things that we normally have access to. So you're going to have to be a little bit creative as to what you can use. I've made a few examples for you just to inspire you and give you some ideas. The first thing that I wanted to show you was a night cityscape. So if you do have access to colored card at home, black card is what I've used in this particular example. I have used magazines, just a normal magazine that's lying around the house. You can use music paper if you are musical and you have any books of music lying around that you can perhaps photocopy or that you're not using anymore. Music sheets are quite fun to use. Otherwise, you can just use newspaper or magazines, anything that's lying around your house, wrapping paper, anything like that, guys. So for this example, I've just kept it black and white. So it is monochromatic, black and white, and I've used newspapers, I've used magazines, I've used music sheets, and for the moon, I've just obviously cut out a sheet of music into the shape of a circle, and I found some chalk that I have just dotted around to make a couple of stars. You can use a silver pen to do this, or even a white wax crayon will do the same, or a white pencil crayon. You might have some paint lying around. If you do that, Tipex will work the same. Anything to make these little white spots. It just gives it a little bit more of a dimension. So that's my night cityscape collage. The next one that I want to show you is another monochromatic scheme, which is also made out of magazines. My background that I've used, I've literally just cut off the back of an exam pad. So it's just that hard cardboard that you find on the back of a notepad or an exam pad or an exercise book. So if you don't have access to other cardboard at home, this is a great option. And then what I've done is I've just flicked through a magazine and I've decided on a warm color scheme. So I've used different shades of reds, oranges, yellows. I've found different pictures and articles that have got the color schemes that I'm looking for, and I've cut my building shapes out using those. You could do a cool color scheme if you wanted to, in which case you would use blues, greens, purples, anything you like. If you wanted to mix it up and make it a rainbow scheme, then that's also fine. You can get creative. You could use complementary colors, so you could do an orange building next to a blue building and do orange, blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, and make it a complementary color scheme. Your other complementary colors, guys, remember, are red and green, so you could do a red and green combination, or you could do a purple and yellow combination. So your three complementary color groups again are red and green, blue and orange, or yellow and purple. Your cool colors are your blues, your greens, your purples, and your warm colors, your reds, your oranges, your yellows. So have some fun with that and see what you can create using a different color scheme. So for the project that I have shown you in full from start to finish using a time-lapse, I've actually decided to do a mixed media cityscape, and I've done it rainbow just for fun. So this is the end result, and that is the picture that you're going to be shown a time-lapse on. Basically, before the time-lapse starts, I just want to explain how I went ahead and did it. I used my different magazines, newspapers, music sheets, and I cut out different kinds of buildings. So some I put pitched roofs on and I made them short, some I made quite big like skyscrapers, and the way that I've layered it actually creates an effect of spatial perspective, and it shows different types of buildings, and it feels like the city's going back away from us. So what I did is once I cut it out and I painted them all different colors, I put them aside, and then I painted my sky. Now the sky I've decided to do is a sunset or a sunrise, but you can obviously do any sky you like. You could do a stormy sky, you could do a night sky. I've used watercolor paints to do my sky, but if you don't have access to paints, something that's fun to use if your mum has any and doesn't mind you using them is actually food coloring. But for this, guys, you'll have to be really, really careful and literally just put one drop of whatever color food coloring you want in a bit of water to create your watercolor paint, but then just be really careful, because if it gets on your clothes, it's going to stain. It'll stain your fingers, it'll stain whatever it touches. So just get mom's permission before you use food coloring. If you don't have paint to use, I'm going to show you a technique on a clip in a couple of days where you can use tea or coffee to paint, which is quite fun. Or you can just use oil pastels if you have, pencil crowns, wax crowns, Kokies, anything. Otherwise, you can even use magazine collage. If you torn up different bits of magazines and you could stick the bits, you'll have to get creative about how you do that, depending on what you have at home. So once I did my sky, then I layered my buildings one on top of the other to create my cityscape. When I was happy with it all, then I just used some Pritt glue to glue it down, and I finished off by doing the sun in the sky. So I hope you have lots of fun doing the cityscape. Obviously, remember that it's inspired by Klee, and see if you can do a little bit more research on the artist. He's an interesting artist, and he's one of my favorites. I love the colors he uses. I love the shapes he uses, and he's quite a fun artist to learn about. So I hope I've inspired you. I hope that I've taught you a little bit about a different artist, and have fun, guys. Remember to post and share your works of art. Can't wait to see what you create, and here's the time lapse for you.